And so while I'm spending all these hours out on the water by myself, I really was reflecting on my life and the things that I've gone through and trying to navigate those and heal from those. And so my healing journey became really part of being on the water, synonymous with that. And I realized our lives, the reason why I titled it The Bend in the River is because on the cover of the book, that was an actual picture I took
Mhm.
um, on the river. And look how beautiful, like glass, that water is. But if up in here, there's a bend in the river. That morning, I went around the bend in the river and chaos ensued. Choppy water.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Grow Your Business Smarter, Live Your Optimal Life TV show. Hi, I'm your host. My name is Dr. Davia Shepherd. And in addition to hosting this amazing show, I also host a wonderful women's group called Ladies Power Lunch. More about that later, because I just want to let you know that on today's show, I have an outstanding special guest. You're going to want to stay tuned for her. Jackie Baldwin has been my dear friend for we were trying to figure out how long we've been friends, and it's been a while, folks. It's been a really long time. And she is such an outstanding person, an outstanding human in the world. For that reason alone, you should stay tuned. However, she is a financial architect. She is outstanding when it comes to supporting women and women in business and getting their financial lives in order. And that is, in my opinion, amazing, because if you've watched this show before, you know that we believe three things to be absolutely true. One, that when women in business have money, that the entire community benefits. Two, that too few women in business are actually making decent money. And three, that when we support each other, everybody wins. So when women in business come together and support each other, then women in business win, the community wins, and the effects, the ripple effects of that are seen throughout the world. So there's value there to that. And the fact that Jackie works in that space makes me so, so, so happy. But Jackie's here today because there's something new that's happened. She is now a best-selling author again. This time she's published an outstanding book, and I just want to hold up my copy for you. Y'all know I love, love, love to read things as an ebook. So you will excuse me for not sharing with you the paper copy, but her new book is called The Bend in the River. And she really dives deep into the power of resilience as we all strive to live our optimal lives. Jackie's been through a lot and she's still here and she's doing amazingly. And she's here today to share with us how we can also, even when things around us are not going as we might like, even when we have that bend in the river, how we can keep moving forward and keep living our best life. So stay tuned for that. Before I dive in, for those of you who are new to us, welcome. Thank you for watching along. And where have you been all my life? So glad you're here. Like I mentioned, I host a women's group called Ladies Power Lunch, and it's free. So I invite you to come join us. Just go to growsmarter.com/log in. And there you'll have the opportunity to become a part of an outstanding group of women in business. We're talking about all kinds of women in business, women in small business, larger business, women who might be solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, online people, people who have brick and mortar businesses, people who might be in corporate life and nonprofit. We even have some of our members who are retired who join us more in a mentorship role. But what holds us all together is that we really truly believe in this idea that when we all support each other, everybody wins. And as we win, we light up the folks that we're here to serve, and they light up and light up their people, and on it goes. And eventually, it really, really does impact the world in a big way. So if you feel like I feel, I invite you, come join us. Just go to growsmarter.com/login. And there you'll see resources for growing your business. You'll see links there for you to join us for our monthly networking meeting. You'll see how to join our very active and engaged Facebook community. You see all sorts of amazing things there. So just go to growsmarter.com/login and you can join us there. Enough about me. let's talk to the woman that we came here to talk to today on with this show, Jackie. Oh my goodness. I said to you before we started, don't let me start crying because you're not supposed to cry on the show. I feel like that's one of the unwritten rules. Don't cry on the show. But it's so good to see you. And I'm so
Oh,
excited, so proud of you. And I absolutely love your book. Jackie, welcome, welcome, welcome.
oh, thank you, Dr. Davia. And it's always, always such an honor and a blessing to be in your presence. And so I'm very grateful to be here. And thank you for inviting me.
So happy to have you. So, for folks who are not necessarily part of our community who don't know you, and Jackie's a very vibrant member of our community. She has been one of our sponsors. She's participated in quite a few of our anthologies. She's been a speaker on our summits. Like she is really all in on this idea of women supporting women. But for those folks who have not met you before, can you share in your own words who you are and a little bit about the amazing work that you do in the world?
Absolutely. Thank you. So I am a financial advisor or architect. My, excuse me, my firm is B&L Financial Architects. And that name really stems from the fact that we design, build, and maintain solid financial homes. And so that's really where that architect piece comes in. And also, I consider myself a holistic financial advisor. And whenever I say that to people, they're like, what does that mean? I've never heard of that before. And it's really because I believe in what I call the triad of health, which is we need to be healthy financially, physically, and emotionally, spiritually, which is why I have gravitated so 100% to Ladies Power Lunch and all that you are doing, Dr. Davia, because we need to be healthy in all those three areas. Because if we're not, if one of those areas is not healthy or not attended to, can have a really detrimental effect on the other two. And so I regularly will bring people into the working with my clients who can help in the other areas. I can help in the financial area and to a certain extent the emotional and so forth. But really, I rely on the other professionals that are in this group to really help with those other key areas. And so in doing that, when I'm working with my clients, I make sure one of the first things that we do together is a cash flow analysis. And because we really kind of need to know what dollars are coming in and what dollars are going out. If you're going to be, sometimes I find women come to me and they're like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm spending on. Sometimes they find themselves with their house, their financial house in disarray, which is perfectly fine. And I say, we just need to know, you need to be the one that's in control of your money, not your money running your household. And so therefore, the best way to do that is to become very intentional about where are these dollars coming from and where are they going out? And that way you can shift the energy around that and where do you want those dollars going? And so one of the key things that I put in there, and I think that sometimes people think it's unusual, is I put in self-care. That's a non-negotiable for me. That's a line item in your cash flow. And if you don't have something that you can plug in there, then that's your homework. And I say that to them. When you come back and we meet next time, I want something in there with a dollar amount. And it's got to be substantial. It's not just, well, I go for a walk. No, we're spending money on you. That's so important to make sure that you are maintaining yourself. And so that's really instrumental. And I work with business owners. I work with couples. I work with women, especially going through transitionary times, whether it be marital status changes, going into retirement, or just shifting from that, as I had done, kind of, more of at one point leading from a corporate world into private practice. That can be a really big shift and a big transition for women. And so I help walk them through that also. Oh, you're muted. I haven't
I
mastered. I haven't mastered my lip reading yet. Sorry.
I know. I hope everybody is taking this opportunity to plan and, get their financial lives in order. And for people who might be thinking, you know what, my financial life is not exactly what I would like it to be, and I wouldn't mind talking to somebody trustworthy about that, how could they connect with you?
So really the best way is you can email me at jbaldwin at blfinarc.com. Or reach out to me if you're in the Ladies Power Lunch, just private message me. I'm there. I'm everywhere.
And everybody knows how to get to Ladies Power Lunch. Go to growsmarternotharder.com/login. And there you'll see the opportunity to do a bunch of things. Just look for the little Facebook icon, click on that, and that'll take you to our community. So there's that. All right. But we love what you do financially, helping women in business, get their financial houses in order. And we've had you on the show before talking about that. So I invite folks to go take a look at some of those back episodes and see just how outstanding Jackie is when it comes to supporting us in that regard. But you're on the show today, Jackie, because you just did something outstanding. You published a new book. It's a bestseller, and it's called The Bend in the
It
River.
is backwards. I'm so sorry for folks, but that is the cover. Yes, yes. This has been, actually, it was funny. The impetus for this really started when you and I had collaborated on The Great Pause back in 2020. I had gone to college to write for television. So I've had that writing in my heart ever since, the 80s. So yeah, people can get a feel for how old I am now. But, and then I ended up having the opportunity to step into support financial services office, and with my dad and my brother, and then I fell in love with that. And so writing really had taken a back burner all those years until The Great Pause. And then I got to dig out my writing chops a little bit, and I fell back in love, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then when I wrote for your book, Dr. Davia, Transitions 2020, then Transformation 2020. And so with that was a much more personal story about my life. I had recently gone through a divorce a few years before, and I kind of shared some of that journey. And simultaneous with that, I had really needed to get myself centered. And I was a hot mess when I met you, Dr. Davia. We were just sharing about that. And I thank you so much for helping me get grounded and get my health in order and my spiritual well-being back in grounded and centered. But along with that, I ended up, I was always a big hiker and outdoors person, but I've always been called to the Connecticut River. And so I decided I wanted to get out on the water. And so I ended up buying myself an inflatable kayak. Yes, I said inflatable. And because I wanted to take my yellow lab with me, because he's my trusty partner. And I couldn't manage a hard body tandem by myself. So I got I did some research, and I found this high quality inflatable kayak. And so I started, once I finally got comfortable with it on the local, like a pond and things like that, getting my balance, right? That's all, it's everything about balance. And then I went out on the water and on the Connecticut River, and I enjoyed it so much. I thought I want to start actually going somewhere on the water. So one thing led to another, and I decided I wanted to paddle all 410 miles of the Connecticut River. And so I've been doing this segment paddling it. I've done all of Connecticut, all of Massachusetts, and I've done a good chunk of the part that the rest is all in Vermont or New Hampshire, depending on what side of the river you're on. And it goes all the way up to Canada. So I have about 200 miles left. I'm actually going to be heading out in 2 weeks to log off another 60 to 75 miles, depending on weather conditions. And so while I'm spending all these hours out on the water by myself, I really was reflecting on my life and the things that I've gone through and trying to navigate those and heal from those. And so my healing journey became really part of being on the water, synonymous with that. And I realized our lives, the reason why I titled it The Bend in the River is because on the cover of the book, that was an actual picture I took on the river. And look how beautiful, like glass, that water is. But if up in here, there's a bend in the river. That morning, I went around the bend in the river and chaos ensued. Choppy water, boats, traumatic, challenging, unbelievable. And I was sitting there like, what am I doing out here? That's life, right? We could either be going along and everything is smooth as glass, and then bam, you turn a corner and life smacks you in the face. And it's how we navigate that challenge that hits us, because we are going to have that. We're not always going to have that glassy water, but it's how do we navigate those parts of the river that are rough, the seas that are rough, those unforeseen challenges. How are we going to navigate that? And how can we still find blessings in all of that? How can we still find the beauty among all of that? Who do we call in to help us and be our support team while we're navigating that as well? So I decided I wanted to write a book about my experiences on the river and equating it to experiences in life. And I have been, it's been out for almost 2 months now, and the response has been phenomenal. Everybody that's been reading it it's resonated the way I had hoped it would. and there's something in there for everybody. And just, it's been such an incredible journey, and healing came from writing this book, but it's been 4 years in the making, and it's not thick, but it's heartfelt and emotion filled.
I totally understand what you're talking about how emotion filled it is. And yes, folks, it'll be a really reasonably short read for you.
Mhm.
So I invite you to go ahead and get this book. A little shout out to your publisher, Elizabeth.
Absolutely. Elizabeth Hill with Greenheart Living Press. Couldn't have done this without Liz's help and her staff, her business partners here too. I mean, it's just because she not only helps you get the book to out to publish, like, as the editor, but she's also a coach. And so she can help you navigate. I had many times where I had to put this book totally away for months because I couldn't even work on it anymore. It was so emotion filled. I was stuck. And she
Mhm.
helped navigate through that and was alongside of me bringing that out. And that's really what her focus for her business is helping people like myself bring these types of stories out to the world so that others can benefit from what we've experienced. Because my story is not unique. And, so it's going to help people who think that they're alone in this, and they're not.
And that's the thing that I think is really, really important because so many of us have been through such trying and challenging times. And a lot of the times we really, really do feel very alone
I did.
in the thing that we're going through when we could be standing right beside somebody who's been through the exact same thing. And so that's one of the reasons why I am a big, big fan of sharing what you've been
Yes.
through, sharing what's worked for you, because what has been your hardship can be somebody else's blueprint to a better day. So
Absolutely. I want everybody, I just turned 59, and I am the most joy filled peace, at peace that I have ever been my entire life. And I don't want people to have to wait till they're 59. Or even if you are 59, you don't have to keep going another day like this. You can overcome it. I've been through some pretty rough situations, and yet I find the blessing out of all of those. And they're all have made me who I am. And I stand ready to stand in that gap with another, woman or man, but most of what, we're working with are women, and just to help them navigate this and let them know that they're not alone. I was so full of shame and self-loathing and thinking I wasn't even good enough to breathe the air that somebody else should be breathing. I mean, that's how low I was. It was bad. When you met me, that's where I was. I was in that place of like, I don't even think I should even still be here breathing this air because somebody else deserves it more. That's how poorly I felt of myself. And so to be sitting here with you today and letting, just saying, oh my goodness, I don't believe that at all for a moment anymore. And I want other women who may be feeling even a smidgen of that to know, let's get rid of that together. We don't need it. You don't need to hold on to that anymore.
Jackie, do you have a little snippet from your book that you think might be something that our audience might really benefit from hearing today?
I do. One of the things I thought for business owners, especially, or women in business, especially, is this concept of goal. Okay. Everybody talks about goal. You have to have a goal. And sometimes for me, I found that really, I was looking at goal all wrong. And so I want to just share what I wrote in the book about it. The expectation throughout our lives is to set goals. While I agree we should set goals, I do believe we need to perhaps understand the definition of the word goal in order to have the proper expectations. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, a goal is the end toward which effort is directed. Nothing in this definition says anything about attainment. It is all about the intention. It is when goal is used in conjunction with other words, such as attained or accomplished, that it indicates the end was reached. This puts my mind at peace. While I have every intention of completing this goal, the 410 miles of the Connecticut River, I'm going to embrace the adventure along the way. Throughout my life, I think I have been so focused on what goals others have achieved that I've robbed myself of soaking in the lessons learned, the scenery that is daily living, and the appreciation for where I am today. I have been looking at my life all wrong to date, Instead of failure, I have gained wisdom. Rather than looking at myself as a victim, I'm a victor. In lieu of feeling as though I have wasted all these years by living anxiously and fearfully, I'm choosing to look at this time as being in training for my destined purpose. I can hear my father's voice saying, "That's my girl." So I hope that that will help people, because I think sometimes I at least found myself trying to compare my life to other successful people. And while that's not all bad, where it was for me, it was creating shame and self doubt in my life. And I needed to say, look, I have goals, and that's great. That's what gets me up every day. But I don't want to just rush to try to attain it. I want to enjoy the ride. And if I don't attain it for some reason, it doesn't mean I'm a failure. It's the journey.
I love that. I love that so much. And we're at that time of year when a lot of us are trying to make sure that we made our goals
Mhm, mhm,
for 2024. Some
mm.
of us might already be starting to plan what our goals are for 2025 in our businesses. And it's really healthy to approach goals from the point of view of it's good to have something to drive you, but
Yes,
you can't use it to define who you are as a
right.
person, whether you are achieving these goals or whether you're not. So
And
that's
maybe
really
that maybe the goal just takes a little longer. Maybe it can't be done in the time frame that you originally thought. Because let's face it, COVID happened, right? As an example. Different things come up all the time that are out of our control. So we shouldn't look at that and be like, oh, I didn't make that goal. Okay, keep going on it until you achieve it. Or you say, you know what, that goal no longer suits me.
mhm,
I just
mhm.
switch the goal.
Yep. I do some accountability every week with my accountability partner. And one of the options that we have is goal changed.
Yes.
Because sometimes when you go in thinking things are going to be a certain way, they might not be, or you might feel differently about it and not even want to go in that direction anymore because of something else that's changed. So just being, I think, open and flexible and being able to enjoy the ride, enjoy
Absolutely.
the journey of it is so important. I know we're talking about a bend in the river. What what's like one thing that you want to make sure that folks who pick up your book take away from it?
Is in one part of the book, I say you've got to kick out those saboteurs from your boat,
Mhm.
because they can weigh you down. They can actually cause your boat to sink. Get rid of them, whatever that is for you. For me, it was shame, it was self doubt, um, all of that, and just and bitterness, quite frankly. Um, there's a lot of I need to do a whole lot of forgiving, but get rid of one by one. You need to kick all of these saboteurs out of your boat. And when you do that, you're going to find that your boat is in balance, that you can glide along the water smoothly, that you are now strong yourself because you don't have anybody weighing you down or constricting you. And you can navigate through even the roughest of waters at that point. But that's the biggest thing, is to get rid of the voices we tell ourselves. That's probably our biggest saboteur, is all the stuff that we're telling ourselves. But also look at who's in your life, and eliminate the people in your lives that are not supportive of you, that are trying to hold you back, that are trying to feed into that self-doubt. You want people that are going to be in that boat with you, that are going to be rowing right along with you, and that are going to be positive, helping you move forward, not an anchor. We don't want an anchor. Okay, we got to get rid of all those people. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I can say for myself, is when I started getting rid of the voices that I told myself and got rid of the voices from external people that were not serving me anymore. That's when things really started to take off, and I could make go the distance.
I love all these metaphors that you're using for getting rid of the anchors that hold you back. That could be your own
Mm-hmm.
relationship with yourself, or it could be some relationships that you have with others. And all of this is putting me in mind of the Live Your Optimal Life
Mm.
principles by which we live and conduct this show, where we think that if we have these four things in our lives that we're able to see significant improvement. So, in our ability to live the best life possible. So, we talk a bit about life balance.
Mhm.
And life balance, at first, people might think we're talking about, I don't know, maybe self care or something like that. But everything to do with your relationship with yourself, that's what we're really focused on when we're
Mhm.
talking about life balance, like you being balanced within yourself. And it sounds to me like this journey that you're on has given you an opportunity to get really, really solid in your relationship with yourself and to let go of the anchors that you yourself you were using to hold yourself back.
Mhm.
How can we do better? What sort of tips or ways have you found that has been beneficial?
Well, first off, it takes a village. And I've said that many, many times. I think I've even said it on this show, but it takes a village. And it means bringing around those people in your life that can help you and keep you in balance. Because there's going to be times when you feel weary and you feel like you're going to topple over and you need somebody to sit there and hold you up and go, I got you, girl. We got this together. So I've found I needed my village, and that's, and I have my faith, I have my friends, I have my family, and I have the other professionals in my life that come around me as well. That's huge. Second, really, if you've gone through any traumatic experiences in your life, and they don't, when I say traumatic, it doesn't need to be hugely traumatic, but if it's something that's still weighing you down, that's causing you to feel anxiety, I would encourage you to seek professional help to get through that. I needed that, because that was, no matter how hard I worked on myself alone, it wasn't enough. I needed to have professionals. I had a life coach and I had a therapist who really, in combination, helped me then work through all the things that personally I needed to work through myself. And then don't be afraid to share your story. Get rid of the shame. The shame is, I think, the worst thing that we can do to ourselves, because when you hold on to shame, you keep closed up and tight, and you need to release it. And so therefore, shame is always going to keep you off balance. It will. You got to just get rid of it. And you'd be amazed that when you share your story, one, you're healing, but you're healing whoever you're talking to as well, because no doubt they have some of those very same feelings. And when you come in alignment with somebody else that's going through those moments, it's the most beautiful, enriching experience.
I love that. I think that's so profound. I was taking notes while you were talking, and I really, really believe that collaboration
Mm,
is the key to just seeing such great and fast improvement in life. So when you talk about having support, when you need to balance yourself, getting support from where you need to get
mm,
it, faith, family, friends,
mhm,
love the alliteration in that. That makes perfect sense to
mhm,
me. And then also, if there's something that you're not getting beyond, and I love the way you put it, because I think a lot of the times we think of trauma as something huge, like getting hit with a
mhm.
truck, when really and truly, if it's something that has been weighing on your heart, something that's been really difficult for you, and
Yes,
that's traumatic to you, your experiences are valid. What
yes,
you've been through is important. It might not appear like as big as something somebody else might have been through,
mm,
but it's your thing. It's a thing you've been through, and
mhm,
the way you have to move through it is going to be perhaps a little bit different from somebody else. So getting support,
mhm.
even professional support, I am a big, big, big
Oh,
proponent of
me
that.
too. Me too. I think everybody can benefit from having a counselor, or a therapist,
Mhm.
just to check in. I do checkups, because just like when you finally get healthy, you got to go check up with your doctor, right? To make sure you're staying healthy. I'm a full supporter. I love it. I think that's what everybody should have. I think
I
that
love
should be part
that.
of everybody's routine.
I love that. So if you were to give us just one takeaway, one thing that we can do, I like for our show to be a little bit on the practical side. I think so very often we go to things and we get great advice, or we go to meetings and we come back with great ideas, but the problem seems to be with the implementation. So I love to, at the end of every show, kind of gives people something that they can take away from the show and go do something that can really be beneficial for them. So if folks who are watching would want one little piece of homework from you today, Jackie, what would you send us to go do? And no, we're not all going down the Connecticut River
Oh,
in a
that's what
kayak.
you read my
No.
mind. Read my mind. But I would encourage you to even just, now I don't know what the weather is, where every listener is at this moment when they're listening to this, but I would encourage you to, I find being out in nature allows me to stop focusing on myself
Mm-hmm.
and realize that there is a big, beautiful world out there. There are little creatures and little animals all going about their business, and they're all making it happen, right? They're living this cute little life, or whatever it may be. For me, being outside and getting outside of myself instead of you need to focus on yourself sometimes, but sometimes you need to step outside of yourself for a moment to calm your spirit and then let yourself to now re-enter. If you're trying to navigate and self-reflect while you're already in a heightened state of anxiety or emotions, I haven't found that works very well. I need to go get centered, balanced first, and now I can then re-enter. And if I start feeling like I'm getting a little uptight, I will step back out again. And I think that helps people, because otherwise life can be very overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I cannot stress enough, the journey that I've been on came from a very overwhelming place. And if I had tried to tackle it all at once, tackle it in layers, don't get discouraged. Not just one modality of healing is going to work. For me, it didn't. I needed to do self work. I needed to have the counselor. I needed the life coach. I needed to get my health in order. So I needed you, Dr. Davia. I needed to. There's a lot of different modalities that you need to incorporate all together. And if one doesn't work, don't get upset. Move on to something else. But for the get go, I would say, if you could just try to release everything for just a moment and feel that beautiful sun, listen to the birds, whatever it is, just okay. I'm going to get centered right this second, and then continue the work. Otherwise, it can feel so heavy that it's frightening. For me, it was very frightening.
I love that. Get outside, folks. If you can, today's a good day to start. Get outside, quiet the nervous system, and
That's what
just,
I was trying to say. You said it so much better. Quiet the nervous system.
yeah, and just take it from there.
Mm.
I absolutely agree that trying to do anything from that heightened state is really not as effective
Mhm.
as it can be if you're able to bring it down a notch.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love that. Folks are, I'm sure, chomping at the bit. They want to know, how can we get Jackie's book?
Well, right now it's out on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon, it's available in hard copy or through Kindle. And then I'm also working on the Audible version of it, because I've heard from many people saying, I don't have time to read, Jackie. So if you
Mhm.
could do that, and I could plug it in my ear, or I can listen in the car. So I'm working on that as we speak. So it's called The Bend in the River. Just go on to Amazon, and my author name is actually Jacqueline A. Baldwin. So you won't find it under Jackie. You'll have to search for Jacqueline. Um, and yeah, I would love for you to have an opportunity to just read the book. I've had many people buying extra copies once they've read it, and they're sharing it with other people. They're like, you've got to read
Mhm.
this book. It's going to help. So
Mhm.
that's made me very happy. And it's short. I intentionally kept it short.
Yeah, I mean, the truth, I absolutely agree. A lot of times it is easy to listen to an audio. We'd love for you to come back on the show and just share with us once you have your Audible up so that we know we can get that. But folks, don't wait for that. Just go ahead and get the book, because it's a very moving read, but it's also reasonably short so that you can get through it in good time. And we're putting it up on Ladies Power Lunch book club for this month's
Mm.
read, so we can all read along together. So that'll
And
be,
just have a box of tissues. But you're not going to cry through the whole thing. There are parts that you will literally laugh out loud. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. Jackie, any final words before we go today?
Just, I had put in the book at one point, if anybody is feeling not deserving, I just want you all to know you are deserving. My
Mm,
dear loved ones, you are so deserving of seeing yourself. So now I'm going to cry, as that beautiful person that everybody else sees in you. And I want you to see yourself as others see you, because you're lighting up the world, whether you know it or not. And I want you to see that when you look in the mirror. That's what I desire for everybody.
I love that. I love that. Jackie, thanks so much for hopping on with us today and just sharing
Thank you
your
for inviting me, Davia.
perspective.
I appreciate it.
At the end of every show, I like to pull a card to share with everybody as a thought for the week. And sometimes it gives us little prompts to go do something or change something in our life. I have been pulling from a particular deck for the past few months. It's just been calling to me. But somehow this morning, I got a different call. I pulled out a different deck. And as you have been talking, Jackie, another deck called to
Oh,
me. So I don't know, something's happening today. But there's this deck that I have. It's called The Enchanted Map, and it's by Colette Baron Reed. And she's a very well-known author, and definitely want to see what advice she would have for us when it comes
mm,
to navigating our bends in the river. It's
love it.
interesting because sometimes I pull a card and see, I'm shuffling it now. I just popped into my mind that this is the deck that we need to pull from today. And I just love these because they really do give us a nice thought for the day. So here we go.
That one, yes, that's the one I would have picked.
That's so funny. So it's number 51. It's Moonlight. And let's see. So this is what it looks like. If you have this deck, you can follow along with us. And if you do not, don't worry, I will post a picture of the card and the explanation inside the Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group. To access that, just go to growsmarter.com/log in and click on the little Facebook icon, and that'll take you right into our Facebook community. It says your intuition allows you to see beyond the mundane, logical, and analytical. Follow it.
Oh boy.
So
Wow.
there's a little bit more. It says too much analyzing is getting you nowhere. Stop overthinking things. You may be exhausted from second guessing yourself all the time and losing your footing. Are you insecure about your ability to make good choices? Step back and regroup and enter into a more trusting relationship with the flow of life. Don't become overly concerned about perceived mistakes. How will you learn to dance if you don't occasionally take a misstep? On the moonlit pathways, you can discover love and truth and wondrous things. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. Go play, have fun, stay open, and trust.
That is
What's
so
this saying
perfect.
to you,
That is
Jackie?
so perfect.
How does this fit in with what we've been talking about this morning?
Oh my gosh, it's perfect. Fear, I talk about that in the book.
Mhm,
Um, I had to dig deep. I had to, at one point in the book, there's a chapter and I'm talking about it, and I'm totally fear filled because I was out in the dark and there was no moonlight that
mhm,
night. And I was terrified and I became so anxious I couldn't think straight. And I had to regroup, just like the card said, and be like, okay, Jackie, think this through. You've got this. Like, there are other senses besides your sight that, just because I couldn't see anymore because it was pitch dark, I started listening and using my sense of smell to navigate my
mm,
way to safety. I was on the river and I couldn't find
mm.
my way out, and it was terrifying. And so that's perfect. And then regrouping. Yes, regrouping, which is what we were talking about, which is kind of what I was trying to say when you go outside, quieting those nervous system and just regrouping. I think the card was perfect.
Yeah, I love it. I really, really do. And I think what you were talking about earlier when you talked about like how you approach goals in
Mm,
life really makes all the difference. The card talks about sometimes you might lose your footing.
mm,
Don't be overly concerned about mistakes, and
yes.
that this is all just part of the journey. So play, have fun, stay open, and trust. And for those of you who watch this show all the time, I probably on every show remind us to have fun because somehow I feel like when we decided that, okay, we're grown up now, this is grown up time, we may not have included fun in that whole picture that we have of ourselves as a grown up. So let's
I'm
take
all
some
about
advice
fun.
here.
I'm all about fun.
Yes, let's all have more fun, more fun, more fun. Jackie, this is amazing. Thank you so much for being part of the show today. Thank you, everybody, for watching along with us. I invite you again, go join our Ladies Power Lunch community. There, you'll be able to connect with certainly me and Jackie and all the members of our community, about 1,000 or so of my business besties who are really committed to this idea of women supporting each other to grow our businesses smarter while we live our optimal lives.
Can I
And
just share with you, Davia, that
sure.
there are times where I've woken up in the morning or just trying to go. I actually go on the Facebook community sometimes when I'm trying to center myself because I feel like I got to reach out, but I don't necessarily want to call anybody. But when I
Mhm.
reach out and I log into the Facebook community and I'm reading all the, you put such great prompts out there and just reading about what everybody's up to. And it just, I feel so connected and I'm like, okay, good. Okay. This is all good. I've got this. And it really helps me. So thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. I really appreciate you saying that. And I want to say to folks that, yes, our Facebook community is a big part of what we do with Ladies Power Lunch. And in addition to that, we do other things like summits and retreats. And we do have a retreat coming up. The next retreat, if you're watching in real time, we still do have one spot left. So it could be two, but right now, based on the block of rooms that we've reserved, we have one spot left. We're going to the Bahamas on this retreat, and we're going to be really focused on growing our businesses by focusing on ourselves on the inside. So looking at how are we doing with our balance in terms of our relationship with ourselves? How are we doing with our boundaries in terms of our relationship with others? If those are out of whack, then it can really affect our business growth. This is a perfect time for this retreat. How are we doing in terms of enjoying our lives, discovering the beauty that is in the everyday? Is that happening for us? Or are we just on the hamster wheel, on a slog, not really feeling the benefits of the hard work that we're putting in? Because if we're not feeling like there's anything in it for us, I guarantee our businesses are not going to be thriving in the way that it can be. And of course, we are also going to be focused on the brilliance that is your business, getting you out there in front of the right people so that you can be the beacon, answer the call, ignite your leadership, and shine your light in the way that you are meant to. So you can light up your folks, they can light up, and the whole world can be a better place. So basically, make the world a better place by coming on a retreat with us. And you can get more information about any of our upcoming retreats by just going to growsmarter.com/retreat and come be a part of our community and be a part of this amazing group of women that are supporting each other. Again, thank you, Jackie. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody watching along with us in social media land. And I'll see you all on the next show. Bye, everyone.